been there and done that. And now the baddest of the rock gods methodically analyze and dissect musical notes, compositions, and riffs that made them go from the stage to the couch. This is My Favorite Riff. Here's your host, Nikki Sixx.
Nikki Sixx here. My Favorite Riff with Rudy. What's happening, bud? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you.
Both got the same nickname, 78.
78.
Yeah, or that's our code word.
Yeah.
That's how long we've known each other. And
1978.
1978, not 1878. You never know. So here we are. We're going to go through a couple things, and what are you thinking?
Well, you know, you asked me about favorite riff, even though it's not a bass riff, it's a guitar riff. One of my favorite riffs, I mean, is the iconic. You know, and it's repetitive, but it's, you know, you being a composer, you know, the importance of having a riff that contrasts with the rest of the song.
Yes.
You know, this riff is a minor. It's the Aeolian. You know, it's an F minor, F sharp minor. The song is actually in A major. You know,
It's so great though.
Yeah, it does, because it's the relative minor.
I see.
You know, as a matter of fact, the whole song uses all the modes of A major. You know, it's all of that. You know, it uses every single chord that is in the A major scale.
Now,
So
the thing is, with that type of information, it could make someone's eyes like gloss over, and they're like, "What does that mean?" But that's not the listener's job. The listener's job is to go, that's just great.
everything fits.
Everything fits. It makes sense to my brain, and it rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's, you know, I always looked at that song as being a really great example of metal, because metal usually doesn't work with a major key.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. It immediately feels a little happy, which is okay.
Yeah.
And a little poppy.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you listen. There's a mashup of Earth, Wind and Fire doing September.
Yeah.
With Ozzy singing.
I saw that. You know, Keith Urban showed me that.
Yeah.
His band was like, "You got to see this." It was like such a weird moment.
It was, because the song it's major, so he's singing the verses in major, and then when it goes, into that section, the B section of the song, it fits.
Yeah.
Because it's all relative. It's the same notes.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just being used in a minor context.
Now I noticed with Vince, we tuned to D. And most of the songs that I wrote were in the A position. So that fit his voice. With Ozzy, do you feel that like his voice fit into that minory like tone for his voice, or did that really matter?
There's something about Ozzy, you know, we could be in the bus and yourself singing a Beatles song like "Yesterday, Love Was Such," and it's all of a sudden it sounds evil.
Right.
Just the way he sang it.
He's got that tone.
He does.
I mean, great singers, you can tell whatever they sing, it's them.
Absolutely, and Ozzy's definitely one of those guys.
And it's really a find.
Yeah.
To find that.
It is.
It's fantastic. What else you got?
As far as the favorite riff, well, I wanted to play that to you in the 59.
Okay, yes.
Precision,
which we both have a 1959.
That's right. This is
P-bass, and we're going to get together and actually like check them out and see like what the differences are. Mine has a maple neck.
Oh,
yours has
really? How cool is that?
It's mine has a maple.
Yeah,
and
that's a
rosewood. Yeah,
flatboard, fretboard. Yeah, and you know
all these different woods, you get confused sometimes.
Woods, and you know when they started building these basses, because this is a 59, Fender had just been building basses for a very short while.
Isn't that the first year of the 59? I think the 58s were like jazz basses, right? I think.
Or could be Telecaster. It could have been a Telecaster.
I never really liked the way they sounded.
The Telecaster, they had that humbucking pickup, which was very odd for a Fender, humbucker. What they started building, and their distribution was very, very limited. And as they got more popular, they started distributing further out, away from California, away from different environments that affect the instruments, especially in transportation. So by the time they reached 1961, 62, they stopped building the slapboard, fretboard, which is a thicker piece of rosewood, and went with a veneer, because it was easier to adjust the neck once it got to the store. And back in the day, there weren't a lot of guys in music stores that knew how to, adjust instruments. So because of the distribution, situation, this is how they changed the design of the instrument.
There's so much of that stuff, history with the companies. A lot of people don't know this, and you know this, but Leo Fender didn't play an instrument.
No.
I mean, that's amazing. He kind of started the electric guitar.
I know, it's unbelievable. And this being a Spectre, and I recall you being the first guy who ever handed me a Spectre and said, check this out. Oh, can we meet this?
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Yeah, baby.
There we go.
And during the Girls tour, I was playing with Whitesnake, and you said, hey man, come here, check out my bass.
And that was the bird-shaped ones, right? And I also had, not that shape, but kind of something like that.
I think it was this shape. Yeah, because I as I recall, and I thought it was an amazing instrument. Back then, Kramer was building these the Spectres,
That's right.
And it's not, you always had the best tone, especially on stage, which is very hard to get across.
It's hard to get. Well, it was that Ampeg SVT combination
with a lot of cut, tuned down to D.
Yeah, add that thickness right there.
And back then we had the Harwell systems, the PA system that you stood in front of it, and
right there.
Oh my God, and being in a three-piece band, that was so necessary.
Well, you bring up an interesting point. I told you I've been focusing on teaching myself to play with my fingers, just as a new way of expressing myself musically, and there is a big difference in the fingers and the pick. Did you ever play with a pick? Because I've never seen you play.
I've recorded with a pick. I
really?
record with a pick.
Okay.
I record with a pick if I've been off the road for a while and my calluses are not built up, because this where I get the sound from. But if I'm off the road, they're gone. So I gotta substitute.
When you're playing with your fingers, do you find you have to add more high, more treble, more adjust the mid-range?
It all depends the style of music. I just did a record with a Fender bass, and I bring up that it was a Fender because there's a certain tone, there's a certain honesty to a Fender, because it's usually passive. You're not relying on preamps, electronic. You're relying on the actual tone of the bass, And it was with the jazz bass that actually I borrowed or rented from a rental company in Calgary.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go across, with
so you don't know what you're going to get.
No, you don't know. You don't know. But you just know that you have to make it work, And I did, and I played it, and I just heard the final mixes of it. And maybe it was because the nature of the music, it wasn't very overdriven. It's a Sass Jordan record.
Okay,
So it's kind of bluesy, country-ish, It's great guitar work, but kind of more like the faces, not overdriven Marshall walls of Marshall stacks. And the bass just sat in a really comfortable place where you can hear the nuances. And I love that.
Yeah,
I love that, because you can be more expressive and not just to me, certain instruments are like shouting all the time.
Sure.
That
it depends on the music.
Absolutely.
We had little Steven on recently. We were talking about his record, and I said I could hear the air on his record. You can hear the air between the microphone and the speaker. And sometimes we don't get that now. A lot of people are recording straight into a computer, which is fine. I do too sometimes. But it's definitely different. The wood makes a difference. The microphone makes. There's so many things.
And people playing in the same room together makes a difference too.
Yeah. Or pick or fingers, too.
Yeah.
Make up for that.
Because I do a lot of records that people send me the tracks, Dropbox or whatever, and I just sit in my room with my little dog watching me, my headphones, and I'm playing, and I know that I'm not getting the same magic
Sure.
as being in the same room,
Yeah.
no click track, just looking at each other in a circle,
Yeah.
and it happens.
Yeah. Especially with the drummer.
Yes.
A lot of times you're like, you start,
Yeah.
he can feel it. Or you can feel him.
Yeah.
He's going to go for that fill,
Yeah.
and that gives you a chance to maybe pick up
Yeah.
something there.
Yeah, we did the record with Brent Fitz playing drums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he did a great job. No click, nothing.
Yeah.
We just went there.
Which
and
is rare these days, because for editing,
Very
people
rare.
like to have the click.
very rare, very rare. But we wanted that. We wanted the vocals to carry it
Yeah.
rather than to have be metronomic.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So going to the let's see the difference.
Yeah.
As a matter of
Right.
fact, oh yeah, that's one thing.
You wanna bring it back a little bit?
Yeah, no, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go passive.
Okay.
You know, and with this one, once it goes passive, this is my signature model Spectre, and this a couple of modifications. One of them is total access to the 24
Yeah.
frets.
As soon as I picked it up, I noticed that.
And what they did was pretty interesting. Instead of like actually cutting in deeper, they moved it down, so you get more mass back here. You know, and some people like that. I took it to the NAMM show at the Spectre booth, and I got some really good feedback about
What's
it.
the first thing I asked you? I go, what neck is this? Because it felt like it was maybe 26 or 27.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I've
No,
never,
no,
actually never seen. I figured maybe you had kind of pushed it there.
Is because it's actually the same length as the standard Spectre bass, but with the body move
Yeah.
further down.
Well, it feels comfortable in the body.
Well, you grew up playing
The
with
bird,
these,
so a
double
little
basses,
bass
yeah.
feels weird to me. Meaning length, like the long scale and stuff. That's fantastic bass.
I love it. I love it. And then it comes with the Sims pickups, which you can the flick of a switch. You can go like, let's see, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna show you one pickup.
Yeah.
Now it's a single coil. This is split coil when it's red. Single coil when it's green. And humbucker.
Oh wow! So you get a little drive in there. The humbucker gets a little dirt.
Gets a little dirt. I really like the splits, and in this configuration you have 2 split pickups.
Endless,
Yeah, endless
type of things,
combinations. Yeah,
you come up
and right now I'm not even running the preamp. So the other riff, it's a riff that I really enjoy playing with Whitesnake, with Crying in the Rain.
Yeah.
It's bluesy and it's dirty. That even though Whitesnake is known for like a pop song like Here I Go Again,
Yeah.
to me
no,
the
but
essence,
I think they're straight kind of blues
Yeah.
rock, dirty.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and playing songs like that, especially having David singing, and the guys in the band. One time we had Adrian Vandenberg. Of course, he was in every single configuration that I played with Whitesnake, but we had one was Vivian Campbell. Incredible guitar player, great tone. I was on his side, we were sharing the same side of the stage. As a matter of fact, when we toured together, he was the guitar player. It was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Phenomenal
great
tone.
guitar players.
Yeah.
And you've had a lot of luck with great singers.
Yes, I have. Hearts, how it's impossible to find a great singer.
Yeah, you got a great singer that knows their voice, whatever style. It allows us to, I don't know, it just makes the bass and drums feel like we support the singer. It's like I always look at that.
Well,
maybe because I'm a songwriter, I look
exactly.
at the bass to the vocal.
I was just going to say that you're writing the script, and you need a great actor, to deliver that part.
Yeah.
And that's what a great singer to me equals.
Yeah,
it's a great messenger.
Yeah.
And I find for Motley Crue, Vince was a great messenger.
Yeah, he was.
And
in a unique voice. We want unique. And I think with a singer and a guitar player, that's not more important than a bass player, but that sets the tone. Our job, I feel, is to support that and to lock in with the drummer and then look at everything. I feel like the bass player's job is to kind of like pay attention to everybody. Yeah, I've always, maybe it's just as a songwriter I see that. Not to devalue the bass player, I'm just saying.
No, absolutely.
The bass isn't working for the vocals, the melody line of the vocals. It's a car crash.
I hear so many singers telling me, I work the bass, the sound of the bass, or the tone, or whatever, the bass line itself.
I mean, the grimy bass line like what you just played, that just makes it want to go. It makes the singer want to feel emotional.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I thought, and like Motley, and I compare another band, in this, what I'm talking about, yes, you have the Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
You had the angelic voice of Jan Anderson. You got the beast bass tone of Chris Squire.
Yeah.
And you did the same thing, with Motley Crue. You had that beast of the bass tone.
Yeah.
And you have, angelic, but still with, with attitude, voice, Vince Neil.
There's definitely some separation there.
Yeah.
I just heard you doing some stuff that sounded kind of jazzy. Do you play stuff like that? I know you play a lot of funk stuff.
I love funk. A line, one of my favorite lines, and it's because it's such a great example of what you can actually do with 5 notes, with a pentatonic. And I mean, Stevie Wonder is a genius. Yeah. And one of the finest examples is the line to, I believe it's Sir Duke. You go, let me see, put it out. Okay, that's part of the pentatonic, right? Yeah. And then this one, he just adds the blue note.
So
that's what, still 5 notes. Well, I mean, that one was 6 because it's a passing tone.
Yeah.
There you go. 5 notes, and then the same 5 notes,
Yeah.
Again.
And it doesn't sound jammy or scaly. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's melodic.
Who played the bass on that stuff?
I don't know who it is, but it's really badass.
It's badass, right?
It's
Songs in the Key of Life. Just listen to that.
Badass.
Songs,
badass.
Arrangements, bass, drums. I mean, the drums on and Stevie, of course,
But to me, that riff is like a music lesson. It's like, wait a minute. It's just one pentatonic. Just one pentatonic. And it's like such musical vocabulary.
Yeah.
And sometimes, people tend to go beyond that to make a statement.
Sure.
And you really don't need that. You only got 12 notes to work with.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the less, it creates more clarity in what you're trying to say.
I mean, I remember hearing AC/DC for the first time, and it just really put the simplicity of bass in perspective for that band. That band did something that I'd never really heard before. It was so simple, but it was so full. But it was so orchestrated. It was very orchestrated. All the parts fit together. You couldn't take that bass style and put it into, Quiet Riot. It wouldn't have been right. Or
it kind of.
Well, I think we all nicked a little bit here and there.
I know.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, that groove on the A or the E, a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you that because I went from playing in Ozzy, which was, Bob Daisley recorded those bass tracks, and they were incredibly melodic.
Yes.
Melodic metal bass lines, a lot of movement, almost like a metal McCartney, And then I went into record. First, I went into record Thunderbird as a tribute to Randy. I was still a member of Ozzy. And I got the phone call from Kevin. And I used to play that song with Kevin locally here in LA. So of course, I was the guy who actually, when he wrote it, I was the the bass line. That was the bass line.
Yeah.
So then we did the track like in a couple of takes, and then Kevin says, "Well, we got a few hours session. Pasha, open."
Pasha,
Pasha, on spec time. It was. And so Kevin says, "Do you remember Sleep Like Cadillac?" And I go,
"I was just going to mention that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a great song. The story behind that song? Kevin wrote it as a dare from Randy. Really? I dare you to write a really good song." And he came up with that as
what a great bass line.
It's a great song. Well, very Spiders from Mars.
Yes.
Yeah, Ziggy
yes.
Stardust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Treble.
So
Boulder,
much inspiration from that.
Oh God.
That whole 70s, era with songwriting.
I mean, that's all we breathed and
Yeah.
lived. 70s music.
I hear a lot of like alternative bands, and I go, I can hear that Bowie or that Spiders from Mars or that Slade or T-Rex. I hear a lot of T-Rex,
Yeah, but what I hear a lot, I do hear a lot of that, but it's coming from one individual who usually goes in and records all the tracks
Sure.
and then brings in a singer.
Sure.
Whereas, like you and I, we were in bands. We let's say Mick brought in his influences. Well, maybe it's Jimmy Page or it might be Jeff Beck. You brought in your influences, so it creates that. So it's not just one single person's influence.
Yeah.
It's like the individual.
Yeah.
I brought my influence
Yeah.
to what we did.
Yeah. That's what being in a band's about.
Yeah.
It really is. And this has been great. You have one more?
No, that was 3.
Okay, that's 3. All right. Thank you, guys.